Hey, welcome back. I'm Chris Chase, Project Director for the Western Flyer Foundation, and I can't believe the weather out here. Last week it was 85 degrees, we were putting this wood in the barn, we had shorts on, short sleeves, and we were sweating like crazy. This week it's back to pretty much classic Northwest weather, 45 degrees and wind and rain. But anyway, we've been getting materials from literally all over the world over the last few weeks for the project. It's kind of all coming together. We got that 14,000 board feet of Sipo, which is an African mahogany. We ordered that for the hull planking last June. That wood came from Africa. It went to France. It was milled into 9/4 or 2 1/4 inch thick boards by random widths up to 30 and 40 inch boards and random lengths up to 39-foot boards. We also got the rest of this Alaskan yellow cedar. This is that wood that came off Stevens Pass here in Washington State. We had it milled into 2-inch thick stock. It'll be sitting here in the barn for the next 4, 5, 6 months, where it'll get a little air dry in time. It'll ultimately get used for the inner hull planking or the ceiling on the Western Flyer. There's about 5,000 board feet in here behind me. And I just got back from Berea, Kentucky, where I was helping to mill the last of the white oak that'll be used for the steam bent frames on the Western Flyer. The Flyer's got 62 pairs of steam bent frames, and if you didn't break any, that'd be 124 pieces of wood. We always end up breaking a couple. You always end up with some knots or some defects, a little bit of sapwood. So we ended up milling up 150 pieces of wood, 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 by 18 foot long, put it in a container, put it on a truck, shipped it to Port Townsend, where it's still sitting in that container. They got sawdust packed all around the wood, and they got soaker hoses above the wood just to kind of keep that humidity as high as possible in that container. And they'll probably start that reframing process sometime maybe mid-July, something like that. But again, I've been out of town for a week or two, so let's get a check-in on the project, see what's new and see what's been happening. Let's talk to Tim, see what he's been up to with the restoration, and let's talk to Pete Stein and see what he's been doing on that stem and that fork heel repair. Hey, thanks again for taking the time to watch the video. Thinking, it's been about a month. We thought we'd do this every month, at least check in. Lots of great stuff's happened in the last month, so yeah, back to where we were.
The rim
how's
logs,
it going? Give us a report.
Good. Let's see. The last time we hadn't put the keel in. We put the keel in, which straightened the boat, raised the stern about 1.5 to 2 inches when it's straightened. Got the rim logs and all the stacked timbers. Have to wait for the next shipment of Purple Heart to get the deck timbers.
How big is this timber that it comes out of?
It needs to be 11 inches thick and 18 inches wide, because that also has the sponson which holds the guard.
You still planning on doing it in 3 or 4 or 5?
Five pieces, yeah, which it'll move that corner seam so you won't have quite so much end grain.
And it'll be June before we get the actual ones?
Could be, but there's plenty to do. So then I started cutting out the old sawn frames, just shored up the boat so it didn't move, and then took a Sawzall, made a couple slices and tipped those sawn frames out.
So all the goals are still kind of reaching for reframing the steam bent frame. So stabilizing the hull, getting the wiggle out of her, and steam bending this summer probably.
Yeah, it's funny because it's such a big structure, you think it's really solid, but every time we've done anything to it, it moves all over the place.
You feel somebody walk across the deck, you can feel it wiggling end for end. So before the steam bent frames, a couple more mold stations forward of the fishhole bulkhead, correct?
Yeah, there'll probably be 3 or 4 in the engine room. I might take that old bulkhead out. We want to get the frames bent as soon as we can while they're green.
Yeah.
And that's one of those few things. I mean, planking goes fairly fast, but framing's like one of the few occasions where it's like over the course of a few days, it's like suddenly there's a boat there.
That'll be a big transformation, so probably into mid-June, June 15th, into late August.
Yeah.
A huge transformation.
Yeah, it's like the butterfly coming out of the cocoon, you know. Let's see what.
Cool. Now that the keel is rolled underneath the boat, bolted up into place securely, Pete can start working in on the rest of the centerline work. We're going to end up replacing this forekeel. We're going to end up replacing these inner two stem knees. This is actually the framing you can see are let into the side of this in little pockets. Then ultimately he's going to go ahead and replace the stem all the way to the top. That fresh water had gotten in from above with a deck leak right around the stem head, and it started to rot a lot down that port side of the stem. So it's a great opportunity to replace it. And just while we're here, this timber here was quite compromised. Again, remember the boat ran aground in 1971, and this entire area had been disturbed. Some timbers replaced, some timbers were left. But now that we're this deep into it, it's just a great opportunity to replace all these timbers with new timbers. So, but after that last video, I got a lot of questions asking, explain that rabbit. And I thought this is a great opportunity. It's just right here at ground level. So again, this is that rabbit line. This is that back rabbit line, and then this is that bearding line. And Pete will make a fid, a 2-inch by 2-inch stick that represents the hull planking. And as he's cutting this in there, he will keep offering that up to make sure that those are nice, smooth transitions. That's a smooth face coming off of the hull framing into the centerline timber, and he's cutting that rabbit into the face. So he'll continue that rabbit joint on down into the keel, and then obviously on up the stem, all the way up those hood ends of those planks, all the way to the deck level.
Wedge of Purple Heart
It's been a nightmare.
is like, I was telling Tim earlier, I got my chisel, I sharpened my chisel so I could shave the hairs on my arm. I got it razor sharp, and I come over and take one whack into the top of this, and it's thud, thud. Talking about.
And thanks for taking the time to watch the video. I'm really enjoying making the videos and sharing the project with everybody. And if you're enjoying watching the videos, why don't you consider subscribing? And if you're looking for daily updates, I do post pretty regularly to my Instagram account, Chase Boat Builder. Thanks again.